agreement with Mr. Searcy having visitation with the children?
Yes.
Would you be in agreement to him having standard first, third, and fifth weekends?
Yes.
When was the last time Mr. Searcy saw the children?
In July
July of
So
what
you
year?
had two
2024.
girls that
And
you have
do you know the
at your
reason
house
why
with
he
your
has not seen
mom.
the children since July 2020?
Due to the fact that the girls were staying with his mother and not him, and his mother failed to tell me that her husband was a registered.
Tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
You both can put your hands down. Sir, please state your first and last name.
Joey Searcy.
And ma'am, your first and last name.
Ladexis McGee.
And counsel.
Joyce Watchku for the Office of the Attorney General.
Okay, and what do we have, counsel?
Your Honor, we have a fully contested hearing, so I'll request 20 minutes.
Okay, you may proceed.
Thank you. I will call Ms. McGee. Ma'am, can you state the name of the children that's party to this case and their age?
At 5 years old.
And you are the mother?
Yes, ma'am.
And who is the father of these children?
Joey Searcy.
Were you married to Mr. Searcy or anyone else when the children were conceived or born?
No.
Could anyone else besides Mr. Searcy be the father of these children?
No.
And he signed an acknowledgement of paternity that he is the father, correct?
Yes.
Has there been any family violence between you and Mr. Searcy?
No.
Do you have any safety concerns for yourself or your children if your contact information is placed in this order?
No.
Okay. Now, when it comes to conservatorship of the children, are you requesting to be appointed sole managing conservator or joint managing conservator with Mr. Searcy? And are you requesting to be the primary parent who designates where the children live?
Yes.
Would you be agreeable if appointed the primary parent that you designate their residence within Dallas County and its contiguous counties?
Yes.
Are you in agreement with Mr. Searcy having visitation with the children?
Yes.
Would you be in agreement to him having standard first, third, and fifth weekends?
Yes.
When was the last time Mr. Searcy saw the children?
In July
July of what year?
2024.
And do you know the reason why he has not seen the children since July 2020?
Due to the fact that the girls were staying with his mother and not him, and his mother failed to tell me that her husband was a registered child molester, and he ended up touching my oldest daughter, which we had to report. And now my twins are starting to say weird things, but they're 5 years old, so I just leave it up to children advocacy to question them.
Okay, so it's your testimony that the child you do not share with Mr. Searcy advised you that an incident occurred with their grandmother's husband?
Yes.
Okay, and did you call the police or is there a CPS investigation going on?
Yes, CPS, they did have an investigation, but they closed it after they spoke to everyone. And the case is still open. I did speak to Grand Prairie Chief of Police last week because I knew we had court today. And the case is still open. I'm just waiting on them to call me back.
And that is regarding the other child and not the children that are before the court today, correct?
Yes.
Now, is the reason that Mr. Searcy has not seen them since July because you have not allowed him to see the children?
No, I've been calling him. The girls been calling him. I told him that the girls wanted to see him. Even for school, I told him that the girls needed some shoes and just no response. Little to none response.
Do you know where Mr. Searcy lives?
With his mom.
Okay, so it's your testimony he still lives with his mom?
Yes.
Is the stepfather still in the home?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, then that would limit the visitation at the house because he's a registered sex offender. Mr. Searcy's stepfather. Okay. Go ahead, counsel for the state.
However, what would be, if he does not reside with his mother, are you in agreement to him having standard visitation with the children?
Yes, the visitation, yes, but because I know his work schedule is all over the place, because last time I tried to see if he wanted to get the girls, I just told him that the investigators told me that the girls are not allowed around his stepdad. And when I told him that, he just kept denying the fact that he's a child molester. And he kept denying the fact that the investigator told me that. When I even sent him a picture of the case number, the investigator number, and all that.
All right, let's move on to how are the children insured for health and dental currently?
They're on Medicaid.
Okay. And have they been on Medicaid?
Yes, ma'am.
Birth? And it's been under you?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you requesting to maintain that coverage?
Yes, please.
To your knowledge, does Mr. Searcy have any other minor biological children besides these two?
Yes.
And do you know how many?
4.
Now, do you understand that the state was not able to confirm any income information for Mr. Searcy at this time?
I understand.
And do you understand that proposed support amounts are going to be based on a minimum wage presumption?
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If granted, the state is proposing that Mr. Searcy pay medical support in the amount of $38 beginning January 1st of 2025. Would you be in agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
And child support in the amount of $206 beginning January 1st of 2025. Would you be in agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you and Mr. Searcy ever live together as a family unit?
No.
Are you requesting any retroactive child support?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the time period that you are requesting retroactive child support?
From January 2022 until present day.
Now, these children, have they always resided with you?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Have they lived with anyone else besides you?
Me and his mother, from when I was pregnant, we had an agreement that she was going to help me out until I got on my feet. But when I first got home from the hospital of having them, I did attempt to try it. For the first 6 weeks, they was with me. After that, I couldn't work. I couldn't do much because I had 2 newborn babies. So she agreed to allow them to come over there with her until I got my first apartment and I got situated.
So how long did the children live with their paternal grandmother? From 6 weeks to when?
I want to say a good year, but during that year, I would get them on weekends or sometimes I'll get them for weeks. It was never just strictly weekends.
So after the year that they lived with grandma, how long did they live with you?
They stayed with me for about a year.
Okay. And then after the year that you got them back, where did they live?
They was back and forth from mine and my mom's home to his mom's home.
And how long did they stay with the paternal grandmother the second time?
I want to say it's choppy. It was off and on, probably a year, another year after that. But
Okay.
it was times where they would be with me for weeks, and I do mean weeks.
So when did they officially stop living with the paternal grandmother and you've got them back full time? What month and year?
It is July 2024.
Okay. And you're still requesting retroactive child support from January 2022 till today?
Yes, please, because every time I get the girls, I would ask for help, but it was just me doing it on my own, and it was him and his mom doing it together. So of course over there they had, more things than I could give to them. But I would ask him here and there for small things, and it will always be no, I don't have it, even though he travels for work and he does private security for different clubs and celebrities. But yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have firsthand knowledge of Mr. Searcy's income, Ms. McGee?
Only what he told me, that's it.
When was the last time you two spoke about his employment?
I want to say it was probably June of this year when he called me and told me, when I called him and I asked him something, and he told me he was at work, where he was securing.
Did he tell you how much he made?
No, he did not.
I will pass Ms. McGee and call Joey Searcy. Sir, you are in agreement that you're the father of the children before the court today, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you signed an acknowledgement of paternity that you are their father, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Has there been any family violence between you and Ms. McGee?
No, ma'am.
Do you have any safety concerns for yourself or your children if your contact information is placed in this order?
No, ma'am.
When it comes to conservatorship of the children, are you in agreement to being appointed joint managing conservators with Ms. McGee?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is your request in terms of who is to be the primary parent?
I would say me and my mother.
Are you requesting to be appointed the primary parent who designates where the children live?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it true you have not seen these children since July of this year?
Yes, ma'am.
So why are you requesting to be appointed the primary parent, Mr. Searcy?
Because they was uprooted from where they want for what they know and where they was originally staying.
Do you currently live with your mom?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Were you living with your mom?
Yes, ma'am.
And when did you stop living with your mother? What
A
month and
couple.
year?
I would say about. I'll say about around September
September of this year?
this year. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So were you still living with your mom after it came out that that Miss McGee found out that your stepfather was a registered sex offender?
Yes.
Did you know he was a registered sex offender?
Like the case, he wasn't
My
no sex
question,
offender.
Mr. Searcy, please listen. Did you know, yes or no, he's a registered sex offender?
No, ma'am. Until they had told me.
And what month and year did you find out your stepfather was a registered sex offender?
I don't exactly know like the date and month.
What was it, this year?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so after you found out he was a registered sex offender, you were still living in the house, correct?
Yes. Then it was like a week after that I had left.
Did you discuss that with your mother? Was she aware he was a registered sex offender?
That I don't know, 'cause I didn't talk with her.
So you had two, and they're girls, your twins?
Yes, ma'am.
So you had two girls that you have at your house with your mom. You found out he's a registered sex offender, and you didn't have a conversation with your mom? You weren't concerned about that?
Because I don't believe it. He's not a sex offender.
So if the law has him registered as a sex offender, you still don't believe that?
Like she didn't show me no paper or no nothing about anything.
So did you discuss it with your stepfather?
No.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, counsel for the state. And you were traveling and leaving the children with your mom and stepdad
No, I
for
wasn't traveling.
for work?
No, ma'am, I was not traveling. I lived in Vegas.
So right now you live in Vegas?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
But you at one point lived in Vegas, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And so you left the kids with your mom and stepfather to raise?
Yes, ma'am, she had custody of them.
And when did you move back from Vegas?
2 years ago.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, counsel for the state.
Thank you, Your Honor. If Ms. McGee is designated the primary parent, are you in agreement to having standard visitation?
No, ma'am.
What type of visitation are you requesting, Mr. Searcy?
Full.
If you are not given full, what type of visitation are you requesting, Mr. Searcy?
I'll take the first and the third.
If
so
you're not working and it's a minimum wage order, how are you planning on taking care of them since you don't have any money, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So how do
I'm
you
on
plan on taking care of them?
because I have a health condition. So me and my doctors, they trying to help me get my disability and everything.
But meanwhile, how are you